Hello, Gabriela. Welcome to this next edition of PSN Global Interviews. And would you be able to introduce yourself?
Of course. I am a PhD student in São Paulo. I'm actually from South Brazil, and I studied journalism in my master degree. In my PhD nowadays, I am studying slam poetry. It is a group of non-binary people, trans people that are meeting in the center of São Paulo, and they are producing fanzines. They are really interested on political issues, because nowadays we have a conservative government in Brazil and they are worried about it. In my dissertation, I focused on right girl movement and feminism, intersectionality, and how women in Brazil, they were interested and on how they meet, how they think about, reflect the updates of Right Girl, how they reunite, how they produce music and DIY culture over here. And in the first work that I've done in journalism graduation, I was interested on media consumption and fanzines, how zinisters from different classes, social classes in Brazil, they were seeing the whole culture, and I saw differences amongst those zinisters, if they were from upper classes or middle classes, because we have this stratification in Brazil, how they used to produce the material of fanzines, how they achieve shows, how they consume music, if they buy more CDs or not. We have this kind of punks that are more street punks here. Others are related to hardcore and they surf music, they skate. So it's kind of interesting how subcultures are, they have different kind of approaches and boundaries depending on the economic relation they have here in Brazil. So I see that subculture is really, it's extremely a phenomena that we can research over here, specific because we have different kind of regions, the cultures is spread, and we can focus on north or on south and see how culture, local culture, can influence on how people produce music or feminism. So it's more or less is what I'm doing, is looking right now to a slam poetry in São Paulo, but I'm also interested on how different regions of Brazil influences on feminism. So maybe I'm going to develop a research about this in future. I don't know.
Because you're PSN, as we know, you're PSN Brazil, and your branch is pretty active in its research, and we've just heard that as well. Can you give us a brief kind of history overview of PSN Brazil? When was it formed, and what have you been up to? I know that there was a recent symposium that sounded great as well, but if you could just give us a quick history of when it was formed, etc., that would be great.
Okay, yeah, sure. The first time I saw PSN for the first time, the title, it was like at Kismet when I saw you using a t-shirt related to PSN, and then I asked, I think it was like that. But in Brazil, I received an email from João Bittencourt that invited me like to join, and he was really organized with Mayara. They were pretty interested on meeting. They invited other people who were also researching punk. We started more or less in the middle of the last year to reunite through Google Meeting and Zoom. And then we were like discussing how to organize a symposium, a seminar, conference related to punk. On the first time we thought about making a conference, with many different rooms and specific teams. And then we stopped and think before, because many of them, we are from different fields in Brazil. That's very interesting. Very like it's a meeting of different fields, people from geography and people from sociology, history. I am the only one from communication, I think, and design as well, and art. Others are meeting. And then we thought, no, let's make an internal seminar, symposium, just for us to get to know each other. So we met and we discussed our own research to know if which researchers were like in common, or the contrast. Some concepts like heterotopia or Foucault ones were using subcultural capital. I was criticized for using subculture as a concept, because here in Brazil is not really, they don't see as a good way of describing a youth culture.
Right. Yeah.
And I was defending myself for these critics. So yeah, it was kind of it was good that was just for us, for the group to know each other. And now I think João is thinking, reflecting on making a bigger conference for the public, for other people joining in, discussing issues. And there were 3 days of seminar with the public, live in YouTube. And we invited people from PSN Brazil and also people from the scene. 3 girls from different bands that they were invited to discuss intersectionality and activism, how they see, feminine bands or feminist bands, issues related to class, gender, aging. Aging is one of the things that I want to explore in my future research as well, because the subcultural continuity of women passing and trying to influence younger women. And yeah, it was super productive. We had like 300 people watching at the same time, and depending on the day, of course. And we also thought about the period of the day to realize those meetings, to see how to achieve the public and the dates. It was in the end of January, but it was super productive. We asked people that had content. They were from the scene, but also they were producing things related to bands, CDs, fanzines, archives. We have a huge archive of fanzines here in Brazil. And Antonio Carlos Oliveira, he has a book related to fanzines, and he talked about lots of things related to punk specific from São Paulo. There is a huge, there's a history if the punk began in São Paulo or Brasilia. This, discussion inside Brazil. So it was nice to hear older people talking about their experience with the beginning of the punk here. So yeah, I think it's that.
And you've written a report, as kind of a conference stroke symposium report, which has just been published both on the events page on the Punk Scholars and on their blog. And for anyone listening, you can click on that. If you click on punkscholarsnetwork.com, you will also get links to the YouTube the recordings of that day, won't you? So it's all recorded, and it's all, so you can just access this stuff when need be. You said a little bit there about women and punk. You've also got a chapter coming out in the latest Punk Reader 3 about girl rock camps in Brazil. Could you give us a bit of an overview about that? Could you sell your chapter? It's the best chapter in the book. We all know that. Sell your chapter. What's it about?
Yeah, I volunteered on Girls Rock Camp in Brazil for 3 times. It was a transformation for myself as a person, not just as a researcher, but of course, as an insider research, as I call myself in a methodological way. I think it's a way to achieve, to see the development of older women, you know, to pass this influence of right grow. It's is there, you know, you see with your eyes. So this is is a unique experience to be in the field of research and to be part of it at the same time. And I see that the right grow content, you know, I don't know how to express that, but they want to pass their experience. They want to empower the younger women, the girls, you know, inside the camp. And in this chapter, we are going to talk a little about how these women passes this to others, and it's at the same time how the speech of women, how they see right girl movement, how they feel, how they understand, how they knew, you know, how they found out about this. It was from galleries, from you know, CDs, from fanzines. Yeah, like younger women nowadays, they don't know right girl through fanzines, because usually they see in Tumblrs and in websites, but the oldest, they were more linked to this DIY culture through exchange letters.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's amazing how different ages can influence on the subculture, but at the same time, with the girls rock camps in Brazil, we had a boom of bands and women that were in playing with guys, and this is not wrong, you know, but they didn't know each other. There were many musicians spread over the country, and they didn't know each other. And then when they started meeting in girls rock camps to teach girls to make bands, they get to know each other because they didn't know each other. So
Yeah.
that's amazing, you know. And there's a history of right grow in Brazil, how it started, if it was when L7 started playing in 1994 here, or if it was when two sisters that after they made Dominatrix band, they saw a magazine with Courtney Love on the cover. So yeah, I think there are many ways of saying the history of the same movement. I always say that there's no a unique story. We can't say that there's a unique story, but there are many. You can tell from different points of view. João had this experience, João Bittencourt, because he wrote a book about straight edge in Brazil. And some people go after him and ask, oh, but there's this story that's not in the book. And so it's amazing to see that there are many ways to tell the same story. And depending on the culture, the region, it's like me. I saw Right Grow through exchanging letters. So I wasn't on I was not going to shows, but I was reading letters and fanzines and receiving demo tapes. So I live in a town that I never saw a show here. So yeah, it's interesting. So I think the chapter is going to explore a little bit of my point of view as an insider research, and also with this worrying about asking women how they see the subculture, how they feel, how they perceive subculture.
Yeah, and it does that. That chapter does that, and it's obviously taken from your research as well. Well, I'd like to say thank you very much for this interview. Fingers crossed for Kismet.
Yes.
Okay, but I don't know whether,
Yeah.
as we were just talking, whether any of us would be able to get over there.
Yeah.
Yes, your chapter is going to be coming out at the later on this month. This year. That would be absolutely fantastic. Yes, in the Punk Reader 3. And last but not least, good luck with the PhD. Keep writing. Just keep writing. Even though you're away from all your books and your CDs and
Yes.
away from all of that, just keep writing. Good luck.
Oh, thank you, Mike, for the opportunity.
No, it's great. Thanks to everyone involved with Brazil. You know, Punk Scholars Network Brazil. You guys are great. Thank you.
Yeah, I would like to thank João and Mayara as well for having the opportunity for us to spread those research. For me, it's like a dream, adolescent dream, to see PSN, you know, spreading in Brazil, because it's a way of a meeting of academia and punk, and I think this
Yeah.
matches, it perfectly matches. Thank you.
Right. I'm going to sign off. Did I speak slowly enough as well?
Yeah.
Thank God.
Sure.
Loads of people tell me I speak.
No, Mike, the first time I saw you talking at Kismet, I couldn't understand a word. I don't know if it's because I'm talking in English twice a week right now with a professor. And
also my
she
rubbish
studied in Harvard. She's a friend of mine, and I'm practicing because I have no one to talk here.
Right.
Thanks God that I was taking those classes, because now I can talk.
Good stuff. Right, I will see you soon. Take care.
But are you going to cut the interview before of this, okay? Like
no, I don't know how to. So people will listen to it up to here. I suppose I could edit it, but yeah, so they've got this last little bit of us two rambling on.
Okay.
I'll see you later on. I'll speak soon. All right. Bye.